So I brought you a story yesterday that Valtteri Bottas is apparently in the kind of loop to become McLaren's test and reserve driver for 2025. And I said it made complete sense because at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with a driver being a test and reserve driver for more than one team, especially if that team has a pre-existing relationship like McLaren and Mercedes do. Of course, Mercedes supply McLaren with power units. And it also made sense from the point of view that, you know, their actual test and reserve driver right now, McLaren officially, is Pato O'Ward, who competes in IndyCar. So he's got his own kind of schedule conflicts potentially there. But now it looks as though Valtteri Bottas is also going to join Williams as well, another Mercedes supplied power unit team. And of course, a former team of Valtteri Bottas. He drove there between 2013 and 2016, and he was their reserve driver even before that. I think 2012 he was their test and reserve driver. So 13 years on, he could be a Williams driver once again in a reserve role. So let's have a look at this guy's full article here on the F1Chronicle.com as always. Valtteri Bottas's chance of returning to the Formula 1 grid this year may be 3 times higher than it was initially thought. Just before Christmas, with Audi-owned Sauber having opted against extending his race deal with the Swiss outfit, Mercedes announced that Bottas was returning to the Brackley outfit to become the full-time reserve driver in 2025. Despite the challenges of the past few years, I know I've got so much more to contribute to F1, he said at the time. The 35-year-old, currently in Australia, will mark his return to Mercedes power by driving an 80s spec DTM touring car at the Adelaide Motorsport Festival just before the 2025 season opener in Melbourne. And it's now been reported that Bottas could have tripled the chances of actually racing with Mercedes F1 power in 2025, as he's also on standby for Mercedes customer teams Williams and McLaren. According to Speed Week, following Franco Colapinto's move to Alpine, the next in line at Williams, Luke Browning, is not ready for F1 reserve duties. I think he's only just jumped up from F3. I think he's competing in Formula 2 this season. Meanwhile, McLaren's preferred reserve driver Pato O'Ward is often not available as he is also an IndyCar driver. Mercedes-powered Aston Martin, on the other hand, has its own full-time reserve, Felipe Drugovich, who, to my mind, should really be given a chance as a full-time driver over Lance Stroll. But that's just my opinion. I know I'm not the only one though. Red Bull though finds itself in a more difficult situation, with Liam Lawson having stepped up from his early reserve duties to first with the Racing Bulls in 2024 and also as Max Verstappen's teammate at the senior team this season. As a result, it's believed that Yuki Tsunoda will be pulled from his Racing Bull cockpit this year in case Verstappen or Lawson are unable to race, with Ayumu Iwasa a tip to fill the void at the Faenza-based outfit in that situation. I mean, that's not a surprise. I mean, the Racing Bulls are the second Red Bull team, so it makes perfect sense that Tsunoda would be the reserve driver for Red Bull. That's kind of without saying. I mean, I know officially they are two different businesses and outfits, but come on, in all practical senses, they're the same company, you know, and it makes sense as well. I'm happy for Iwasa if that's the case, being the reserve for the Racing Bulls. I think he's a decent driver, done a good job in F2 over the years. I'm glad Hajar's got his step up as well. But yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense at the end of the day, you know, in a cost cap era of Formula 1 as well, it's not the cheapest thing to have a professional Formula 1 driver. I mean, even as a test and reserve driver, Bottas is probably going to be, I don't know, he's going to be on like $1 million at least, probably $1 million a year, something like that. I don't know, but it's not cheap, put it that way. And it's something that you could use on research and development, you could use on another driver's wage perhaps. So it makes sense from a financial point of view for McLaren and also Williams as well, particularly Williams, who are relatively cash strapped in Formula 1 terms. I mean, they're not poor. There's no poor Formula 1 team, but there are a few that don't quite get the same investment as the others. And Williams, despite Doralton Capital being there, I still think they fall into that category personally. Maybe someone who's got the financial records for that team will dispute that, and that's absolutely fair enough. But what I'm seeing out on track does tell me that Williams don't spend as much as the top teams. I don't think they have the budget for that personally, but yeah, it makes perfect sense, and especially as well from Williams' point of view too, because they've got Carlos Sainz now, and yeah, he's not going to be on as much as he was at Ferrari, but he'll be on way more than what Logan Sargent was, and Franco Colapinto too. So yeah, I would say that is a very sensible move. It makes sense to have a experienced test and reserve driver, someone who can come in at the last minute and perform straight away in a Formula 1 car. Because right now, let's have a look at Williams actually. Who's actually the test and reserve driver officially at Williams? And the answer is nobody. Nobody is a test and reserve driver officially. So it does default to Browning like the article says. Of course, test and reserve driver before was Franco Colapinto, but he has gone to Alpine. So yeah, Browning is not ready for Formula 1. It's too much of a step up. So you got to have someone who's ready there, some of a super license, because I don't even know if Browning's eligible for a super license. I'd be surprised if he is personally. But yeah. There we go, guys. That's just my thoughts really on all that. Although saying that, I know I'm just going to go back on what I just said there. I think Browning does have a super license because didn't he compete in a test session for Williams in a free practice session? So he probably does. But my point still stands. He's not quite ready for Formula 1. And just like my camera is not quite ready to focus on me. There we go. That's better. Yeah, for much more news and opinions on the world of Formula 1, do keep it tuned here to the F1Chronicle.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, guys. And yeah, if you want to support us on Patreon as well, become a patron on Patreon, get some exclusive member benefits as well. Please do. Really would appreciate it. We've just set that up. So any help you guys can give would very much be appreciated because I love bringing you guys the news here on Formula 1 and I want to keep doing these videos for as long as possible, and that would be a way to make things a bit easier for us at the end of the day to do some longer videos, which I know you guys love at the end of the day. So yeah, see you soon. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, and we'll see you very soon, guys. Have a good one.